There's more videos coming out of Iowa about people getting kicked out of DeSantis events. I just wanted to share a few. This is Matt Kim again. This is about a minute long video, maybe a minute and a half, showing Matt Kim being purged.
So I came to the DeSantis, what is this? The DeSantis town hall, the last one. I just wanted to hear what he had to say. I came here to just check it out because I'm in Iowa anyway. And they told me I can't go in. They said I'm not allowed. That's a private event. I have tickets. They gave me tickets. They actually called me to confirm if I'm going to arrive. And they said I'm not allowed in.
Wow, they actually called Matt Kim to ask him if he was actually going to be there. So they were waiting. They had the cue from that call. And they wanted to make a big event out of it. Make it dramatic to kick him out.
And they kicked me out. They told me if I don't leave, it's going to be trespassing. And just kick me out of the event. So I made it like maybe.
So what they did was they went to security and they probably had a picture of Matt Kim and they're like, hey, when Matt Kim shows up, make sure that you bum rush him and make sure that he doesn't actually get into the event.
We 2 feet into the door, and as soon as I stepped in, security just bum rushed and like, you gotta go, you gotta go. You got. So
and it gets worse too because he was actually trying to get food at the adjacent restaurant, and they said because it was a neighboring restaurant to the building that the event was held in that he had to also leave that premises.
Trying to go eat next door because it's freaking cold, and
yeah, I know, people are complaining it's cold in Iowa. I mean, it's not that cold actually.
I don't know, hungry, didn't get to eat dinner yet, and they won't let me eat at the restaurant next door either because they say it's a neighboring property, same property, or I don't know what the exact words were.
Here's the deal. So like these restaurant owners, these bar owners that are doing this, that are allowing their entire establishment to be manhandled and sort of subverted for the actions of these politicians, DeSantis, Nikki Haley. I mean, shame on them. If you live in Iowa, you know, and these restaurant owners are kicking people out at the behest of the campaign managers for DeSantis or Nikki Haley, shame on you. I would boycott those restaurants.
But they said I'm trespassing and that I can't even eat at the building.
Okay. You can't eat. You can't go in. You know, it is cold outside in Iowa for someone who's not used to it. So kicking someone out in the cold is kind of a big deal here, and it shows really how brutal and unethical and stupid these people really are.
Thing next door, dude. I just wanted to go hear what DeSantis had to say. I mean,
yeah. I mean, look, Matt Kim, a minority, an Asian, a Korean gets kicked out. What? If this happened to a black man from Chicago, I'm sure there would be like an entire sort of barrage of media articles. Oh, DeSantis kicks out a black man.
I don't think I've ever said anything bad about him. I don't think I've ever made a video about him. I mean, I support Trump, but I can't go hear what DeSantis wants to say. And I can't believe they're kicking me out of the entire area.
All right. It's all the same property. So if we have to leave the other side, this is the same property. So.
Okay. I mean, you can tell that Matt Kim is kind of stunned, surprised even. There's another clip here. Let's play it.
So tonight has been pretty crazy. Got to a Trump event. They recognized who I was and they let me go into the press area. And then they said that I could actually record and interview people there tomorrow. I tried to go to a DeSantis event and they kicked me out as I got to the door, which is like crazy because I don't think
This is, you know, suspect for sure. I mean, Matt Kim was being polite. He was asking if he could record at a Trump event, and they obliged. And then you go to a DeSantis event, and suddenly you can't record, you can't even attend, you've bought tickets. Do you get a refund for those tickets? Who knows? I mean, I don't know if you actually have to pay anything for these tickets or if they're just kind of first come, first served basis or what. And then Matt Kim also can't eat because the restaurant is attached. Ridiculous.
I've ever made like an anti-DeSantis event, but I don't know. They just kicked me out, and it was weird as fuck. It was weird.
I don't know anything about Matt Kim.
And then the Trump team heard about what happened to me with the DeSantis.
Recent videos that I've seen, especially the Vivek one. So I don't know. Maybe Matt Kim is from, I don't know where Matt Kim is from, but this is these are Midwestern values. Taking people out, constantly voiding the Constitution and our constitutional rights.
At this event, and they invited me to ride with the press team. So I'm gonna be going probably tomorrow afternoon. I'm gonna be going with like where the reporters are to follow them around and go to the caucuses, and I'm gonna be able to see behind the scenes and then show it all. They said I could record whatever I want. I can go live. So they're like, you can do literally whatever you want. Just ride in the bus. So that's what's happening tomorrow. Turn your notifications on. I'm gonna be putting them up, and you get to see like real, like seriously real behind the scenes footage of like.
I mean, I'm really tempted actually to follow Matt Kim because Matt Kim is obviously very genuine and authentic. More importantly, Matt Kim is subtly challenging this sort of censorship engine that they have wherever these, you know, DeSantis or Nikki Haley go, wherever the money is, it seems like there's censorship involved in one way or another.
What the Trump campaign is, it's crazy. I can't believe they're gonna let me do it. So it's like, it's so different, right? Like one side, they're like, you can't do anything, and they just literally kick me out. And then the other side, they're like, yeah, like we love what you do.
Midwestern values.
So, like full access.
I should probably turn my mic closer
so
to me
crazy
here so you guys can hear me.
But tomorrow's gonna be a big day. See you guys tomorrow.
Well, okay, so the Iowa caucus is today. What does that mean? Well, it means that President Trump is going to obliterate any of the competition out there, including Vivek Ramaswamy. And Nikki Haley is probably going to get 3%. Vivek might get 5%. It's a wasted vote. And then all the rest might get 1%. Chris Christie has already dropped out. I mean, this is, you know, I don't even know if you want to call it a competition at this point. But, you know, good for Matt Kim. I'm happy for him. He's able to actually show how ridiculous this entire process is, particularly with respect to DeSantis and the fanatical sort of censorship operation that they've got going there. And they're just wasting money. They're spinning their wheels in Iowa. They know nothing about Iowa. They don't connect with anyone in the Midwest. DeSantis is from Florida. He didn't even try. I mean, Trump shows up. He's from New York, so Trump is kind of used to the cold. And he's just like, it's cold. And, you know, people respect Trump, but they certainly don't respect DeSantis because they see DeSantis for who he is. He's a, you know, he's fake and gay, using the 4chan commentary. He shows up and he just puts on an act. That's what they do. All right, so let's pivot a little bit into your boy DeSantis, who got this participation trophy yesterday, and I wasn't able to hear the audio at the tail end of my stream a couple hours ago. So let's play this so I can actually hear it. I haven't seen this video.
What? Nothing's gonna stop us.
I mean, outside of seeing it, but I haven't heard it.
Real quick before we get started, thank
thank you, everyone. Governor DeSantis, I want to present to you this participation trophy.
Oh, I love it. He gets up there. He probably should have took his coat off, but oh well.
Now, probably not going to win the election, right? But we're proud of you for trying.
Participation trophy. Sorry,
No, but, I mean,
sorry, buddy. Sorry.
special.
Okay, so he calls him buddy. Now in the Midwest, if you call someone buddy, that's an insult. So there you go, right there. The first thing out of his mouth is he is insulting this guy. I mean, why not have a sense of humor about it? He's obviously joking around. Fake and gay, DeSantis.
He's unique, and he's our little snowflake.
Oh, and then the, his goons come up and take him away.
Here you go.
Those aren't even, those are like, Florida state troopers probably.
You want to use the Lord? We're so proud to use the
That are given special sort of jurisdictional protection abilities in Iowa.
real quick.
Because DeSantis is, and look how DeSantis looks. He looks run down. He looks not powerful. I mean, even, people who are short, relatively short, right? They can show up with a powerful presence. What does DeSantis show up with? Look at the way that he's sitting. Now, again, I shouldn't be talking about this because I'm not the maestro of body posture, stuff like this. But DeSantis, look at his shoulders. Like he's just, it's almost like he's conceding that he's already lost. That's what it looks like.
Thank you, everyone.
And then he's like, oh, I don't accept participation trophies.
Probably not going to win the election.
I don't know. If someone calls me buddy,
Participation trophy. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy.
I don't know. It's an insult for sure. And then his wife here is looking away. Not paying much attention. I bet his wife put him up to this. Said, I think you have presidential potential. Why don't you run? And he kind of bought into it because he's got this complex as the governor of Florida. All right, pivoting again. We got the quickly. So probably get a strike on YouTube for this tweet. There is a community note on it saying that this is a fake, made-up disease at this point. However, we've seen the congressional bills earlier on the stream where they've apparently prepared some vaccine process, treatment, technology through Department of Health and Human Services, available to quickly produce vaccines in response to, a quote-unquote disease X, and we don't know what that is, and maybe this is it, maybe it isn't, I don't know. There is a community note on it. These community notes are a little more trustworthy than I think general fact checkers on the internet, and okay, so this is the Died Something account, which I'm subscribed to on Telegram. And all it says is that reports out of China. Now, it's not citing what reports. And plus, these are Chinese sources. So even if you cite the reports, it would be difficult unless you could translate. And of course, Google Translate works really well for that. But I don't know what sources. So even if you gave me a news article and I copy and pasted the text into ChatGPT or Google Translate, and it spit me out the translated version, then I could, I guess, check some of the veracity of these statements. But at this point, it's just completely, you got to challenge all this stuff. You don't know if this is true or not. So it's questionable, certainly questionable. I have no idea, but I did see this. This has been floating around Twitter, and I would I would certainly question whether or not this is true. Now, this is a mobile crematorium in China. That alone should tell you that this is very dangerous and insane. Yeah, how do you interpret this? Let's play the video.
一个炉体，这是长安款的一个炉体啊，看一下，大概可以对比一下。这个是一个75乘1米的哈，长安款的。福特款的呢
Wow, there's two of them.
这个是
It looks kind of like one of those. It's almost like a Holocaust man. I don't mean to joke, but I mean it's really frightening. Frightening. And I don't mean to make light. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make light of anything. It's not my intent, but it's very frightening. That's my point. It's like a Holocaust in a van. Oh my God. They're actually using it. Oh my God, it's remote controlled. This is nuts. This is pure insanity. I don't know any other way you could accurately describe this.
长安款的，福特款的呢，这个是90乘130的，要大一点。
Music really adds to the drama, doesn't it? All right. Pivoting again, switching gears. Big Pharma buying cancer drugs companies like crazy. They know what's coming. Well, I don't know. Big Pharma, banks, they always consolidate, right? Corporations consolidate. 3M is like the king of consolidation. 3M does it so secretly, though. No one really knows. And plus, no one's really interested in this, in the stuff they were doing until the pandemic when they were creating those N95 masks. But especially lately in the past 20 years or so, 3M has also ramped up its supply chain process where they're actually layering on top all these medical supply chains like dental stuff, veterinarian dental stuff, human dental stuff. In fact, a lot of the products and material that's used for filling cavities, instrument related stuff, even some of the 3D imaging software and hardware that they're using now in dental labs and dental offices have been bought up by 3M over the past 15 years. And again, it is quasi secret. Like I've been searching too to see if this has been kind of exposed, and it really hasn't. So I was also thinking about doing kind of a deep dive on 3M, and that has some inroads with Mike Pence, because if you remember, Mike Pence, the vice president at the time, visited 3M's corporate headquarters in Maplewood, Minnesota. And that was about sourcing additional N95 masks. And 3M right now is laying off a bunch of people, like a lot of corporations are, in part because the economy is whack. But Mike Roman, I believe is his name, the CEO of 3M, is getting a $26 million cushion. Meanwhile, a bunch of these factory workers. Now, so one of the positives about 3M is they do actually either contract with a lot of these factories, custom sort of build factories in Wisconsin, in Minnesota, in Illinois. There's a lot in Wisconsin, actually, western Wisconsin. They make specialized tape as well in these Wisconsin factories. There's a couple over here. There's one that's about, I think it's in Roberts, Wisconsin, and it's about 20 miles away. And they make adhesive for some of the backing of the tape. Like 3M Scotch Guard, it's the tape that 3M makes and so forth. But anyway, so they've really got into the medical supply chain within the past 15 years. And I think that should be frightening considering the fact that they were the primary supplier of N95 masks during the pandemic. So when you think of this consolidation process, and I think I've talked about this before, especially with banking, during the 1920s, when we had the banking crisis then and the Great Depression, banks like Wells Fargo showed up, and what they did was these regional smaller banks in the 1800s had their own currency. And when those banks would go bust, the currency, obviously, just like all these altcoins with crypto, are worthless. And so what Wells Fargo was doing through the 1800s and into the Great Depression was they were buying these smaller and mid-sized banks and consolidating the banking infrastructure within the Midwest, especially. Wells Fargo originally came out of North Dakota, I believe. Could have that wrong. I'm about 98% positive, but sometimes I always mix up South Dakota and North Dakota. Anyways, came out of the Dakotas, and the most of the money west of Chicago was in Minneapolis. Grain exchange, commodities. That's where you see companies like Cargill, General Mills. General Mills also consolidated a lot of the mills back in the day. And so you've seen this continued consolidation up to the point we're at right now, which is that these corporations have so much control over supply chains and over production and over labor that you really have no bargaining power, right? And so when you see Big Pharma coming in here and buying up these patents and buying these cancer drugs and all the other smaller companies, startups, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Well, I mean, we've seen a huge skyrocket in cancer rates in the past 3 years, right? Is that a primary reason? I'm just posing a question. Again, I don't want to get a strike on YouTube, and I shouldn't be such a pussy that I'm entirely afraid of getting a strike on YouTube. I'm really not. But at the same time, it's just annoying, because then it's like, okay, well, then you have to stream to a different channel. I got Rumble, whatever, but it does, you know what I mean? It's just annoying. And I don't have any followers on YouTube anyways to really care about it either, but okay. So, as cancer rates explode, Big Pharma cashes in. Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, AstraZeneca, Novartis, they're all making moves. Is there something they know that we don't? Well, they do. They do know stuff that no one else really knows. So we can debate the cause, but we can't debate the reality. Cancer rates are skyrocketing. Something is happening beyond any historic trend that has increased all forms of cancer across the board. Cancers once in remission for years are returning with a vengeance. Stage 3 and stage 4. Now that's true. It's very true. Cancers that once took years, and by the way, a lot of people come to this area for treatment at the Mayo Clinic for cancer, which is generally known, at least for the past 50 years, as the best hospital in the world. I mean, now in today's world, it's usually one or two. Sometimes it's Cleveland Clinic, but it switches. They're still highly revered, right? So there's a lot of people who come to the Mayo Clinic for cancer treatment. A lot of the cutting edge cancer research, that's delivered through all the research universities throughout the country, the University of Michigan, Harvard, Stanford Medical School. A lot of that is fed into these research hospitals like the Mayo Clinic. And then the University of Minnesota also plays a role too. And they have an arm that's kind of attached to the Mayo Clinic. Anyways, so a lot of people come, including royalty, come to the Mayo Clinic for cancer treatment, right? Like even Jared Kushner, right? He's always strolling around Rochester. And I could tell you just from talking with people here locally that it's really never been busier as far as treatment is concerned. So it is increasing at disturbing rates, but the public, I don't think, is seeing it beyond just hearing about it, seeing it for themselves if it strikes one of their family members who's unfortunately taken the plunge when the pandemic happened and all these things were rolling out. Whatever is triggering this tsunami of rare, aggressive, and indeterminate cancers has taken no prisoners. It's happening throughout the world, and it's happening with greater and more terrifying frequency. Switzerland. Health insurance data shows 73% increase in people receiving cancer treatment since 2020. These are screenshots of various headlines. Early onset cancers are on the rise. Why it's happening and what we can do. Cancer cases in under 50s worldwide up nearly 80% in 3 decades, study finds. More than 1 million under 50s a year dying of cancer, and figure projected to rise by another 21% by 2030. Wow. Amazing. Turbo death from turbo cancers. We are in trouble, says Dr. Ryan Cole, oncologist. I've never seen cancers behaving like this. Turbo cancer. Pandemic of post-vax turbo cancer, a collection of alarming reports by experts worldwide. And then there's a picture of 10 experts. Cancer-causing SV40 found in COVID bioweapon. Turbo cancer skyrocket in young people. I think that's a Stu Peters screen grab there. Thumbnail. Nobody can discount the numbers. They are from government databases. They're from insurers and actuaries. They've been scrutinized by brilliant mathematicians and statisticians. They've been confirmed by countless anecdotes, shared by countless experts, seen by countless oncologists, pathologists, biologists, virologists, epidemiologists, vaccinologists, immunologists, virtually every kind of ologist you can imagine. Jeez. Yeah. But sadly, so few of them are sounding the alarm. Very important, right? Sound the alarm. The cognitive dissonance is thick. The fear is palpable. The human ego and all of its machinations are waging war against the truth. It's about money, power, control. Well, I think that's part of it, but I think it actually goes beyond. I think it's about evil. I think it's about this war between good versus evil. I think it's about the fact that the people who are involved in this, and there's several layers, of course, hate everyone else. The government hates you. They absolutely, your local police force hates you. Your local county court, they hate you. Your legislature in your state, members of the legislature, they hate you. City council, they hate you. The governor hates you. Cabinet members hate you. They hate you. They don't care about you. I mean, you're seeing countless videos here just of DeSantis. Hates that guy. Absolutely hates him. Calls him buddy. You saw Vivek Ramaswamy manipulate that woman because he doesn't care about looking through her. We have countless pieces of evidence here. Now, it's a little bit different if you're a former president or you're a sitting president and there's security processes set up. You can't just show up. You can't just show up and bring, a participation trophy up to someone. I mean, there's security involved because of everything that's gone on in this country over the past, 150 years, really, especially the last 50 years, 70 years since JFK. So that's understandable, right? But just for the average, so DeSantis is like an average person. Okay, so he went to Harvard Law School. Who gives a fuck? He's a governor of Florida. Who gives a fuck? He's got state troopers as security. Those guys are stupid. They don't care. He hates you. He hates you. Only the bravest and strongest of moral conviction are willing to speak. Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Who is the one who steps up and says what needs to be said at the most critical time? People like me. There's many others, but they're exceedingly small relative to the percentage of the overall population. Very few people, when it really matters, will step up. Why? Because we've seen the retaliation. You've seen what has happened to me over the past 10 years. And they kind of caught me in the crucible because of my age, my generation. I'm 40, I'm a millennial. Whereas I think the cutoff really was Gen X to the millennials, where they were able to kind of insert this censorship gene in society. Like they were doing some gene splicing and they were able to kind of like just throw it in there, right? And so anyone who's a millennial are then subject to this censorship regime. And, you know, Gen Xers, it's maybe a bad analogy or a bad metaphor, but I don't think a lot of people are willing to speak up. And yeah, people have a lot to lose if they do. Their families, their careers, their jobs, money. But it's you're going to lose all of that anyways if you don't. I'm proof positive. And the only way I think that you can overall maintain everything that we love and cherish in this country and in life and, you know, as human beings is by speaking up. Because all you need to do is watch. The biopharmaceutical complex, it's telegraphing its moves. As mysterious and lethal cancers proliferate, Big Pharma has been cashing in big. Here's a screenshot. Pfizer CEO says it will be able to deliver Seagen's cancer therapy at a scale not seen before with $43 billion deal. Another screenshot from Pfizer with some text about the article. Johnson & Johnson to acquire Ambrx, advancing next-generation antibody drug conjugates to transform the treatment of cancer. AstraZeneca hikes earnings forecast as surging cancer drug sales offset plunging revenue from COVID vaccines. So what are they morphing or shifting their money into? They're shifting it into cancer treatments. That's what I think this is telling us. So all of those subsidies that these companies obtained from the federal government for the vaccine development and delivery, they've now then shifted into cancer treatments, which tells you a lot about the fact that taxpayers are funding all of this nonsense. And it's really actually pretty ridiculous. If you really think about it, the fact that taxpayers have given subsidies to these companies to deliver these supposed treatments that never actually worked, and then they shift all of that investment, all the profits and money into cancer treatments. Very simple, very easy to understand. Moderna CEO says melanoma vaccine could be available by 2025. Moderna to Immedix up to $1.8 billion in cancer drug deal. 16 new cancer drugs approved by FDA in the first half of 2023. Oncology cancer drugs market size worth $311.81 billion by 2032. Quietly and not so quietly, the pharmaceutical conglomerates have been investing in cancer drugs. They're gobbling up companies. They're pouring billions into research and development. Why? Could have anything to do with the sudden and unexpected surge in cancer diagnoses. It is unexpected. If we take a closer look, this business model is nothing new. It just now has the world's biggest magnifying glass on it. The people are wising up. The public is seeing through the dense haze of lies and deception. The fog of information war is clearing, and while the truth may be hard for most to face, turning away won't make it disappear. The truth is clear. Cancer rates are exploding. It's happened recently. Now pharma companies are taking advantage. Hanlon's razor cautions that we never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. And we won't, because stupidity has nothing to do with this. Well, it's sickening. This has 15 likes. It should have 10,000 likes. It should have 2,000 comments. And this is by Eccentric. One other thing I wanted to quickly talk about is, so I was using ChatGPT to generate the thumbnail for this stream. And so, you know, I said, hey, ChatGPT, can you make me a YouTube thumbnail for this title? And then the title was Censorship Engine Heats Up in Iowa Will State Freezes Under Joe Biden's Oppressive Regime. And then ChatGPT responded saying, error creating image. I'm sorry, but I'm unable to generate images based on the provided request as it doesn't align with our content policy. If you have another idea for a YouTube thumbnail or a different request, I'd be happy to help you with that. Please feel free to share any alternative ideas. Now, what the fuck? Honestly, like, are you fucking kidding me? This actually really pisses me off. You know why? Because I pay $20 a month for the premium version of ChatGPT, right? $20 a month. Not a lot of money, but still. You're paying to be censored. In the same way that all these politicians, Florida's taxpayers, are paying for DeSantis to come up to Iowa to censor more people across the country that are trying to attend these events. ChatGPT is doing the same thing. They're abusing trust that they have with their users. Now, I can't criticize Joe Biden without having ChatGPT trying to censor me. I bet you, I didn't try this, but I bet you if I tried something related to Trump or something related to some conservative like Clarence Thomas, it would spit the image out like that. You know, I am contemplating tweeting this out, and I bet you I'd get some valid comments, you know? And the fact that, I mean, it really should have like 10,000 likes on it if I tweeted it out. You can't criticize Joe Biden using ChatGPT. This is what it's telling me, because I'm not saying anything here that, you know, is a quote unquote, well, I'm not even going to use those words. I'm not saying anything that's not, you know, these are peaceful, totally valid words like I always use. I've never not used those types of words. But what they try and do is they try and nitpick and say, oh, well, you can't say that. And then, you know, in my case, right, because I'm just a white guy, a millennial white guy, 40 years old, my house could get, you know, I'm just thinking of like, okay, well, I'm tracing this back to 2017, right? When these lunatics, these tyrants swatted my house, claiming that I used a banned name on my own Facebook post. That's what they alleged. They swatted my house, broke my door down. I was in bed with my then girlfriend. Terrorized me. More importantly, they caused significant distress to my family. And so this is, it's like a micro PTSD moment when you see something like this, because yeah, it's ChatGPT. It's probably not going to do anything like that, obviously, if you think about it logically, right? Realistically. But this is this censorship bullshit that we constantly have to deal with, and it needs to end. It needs to end. There's no reason that any of these platforms, because ChatGPT is going to take over Google, it's just a matter of time, should be used for the purposes of shifting or persuading or influencing people's opinion. All right, I'll be back today. I want to check on some of the caucus things. Actually, I'm going to check on that really quickly here before I leave you. All right, so we don't know exactly. I mean, I'm not an expert on this Iowa caucus. We don't know exactly when some of those stats are going to come in. Maybe they'll come in midday. Maybe they'll come in later in the afternoon. We can only speculate, I think, with the limited information that I have. I'm not an expert on any of these issues. I'm looking at a New York Times article right now, and they're trying to paywall me. And we got... I mean, the only thing we know is that Trump is going to smash. In fact, I'm going to title my next stream, Trump Smashes the Iowa Caucus, meaning that, you know, Trump is just dominating the entire caucus. And now it's really about exposing Vivek Ramaswamy, you know, because I think what he did was, especially with the shirt and then how he treated that woman, I know these are little incidents, right? Like, okay, so you can't hold someone totally accountable for like little small things in life, right? But these are representative, especially his Roivant stuff, where he spent a lot of time trying to con people, con investors into making $1 billion. These are issues that are worth talking about, and it really, I think, prevents or precludes Ramaswamy from really ever serving in the Trump administration unless something significant changes here, because it's pretty bad. And I think the DOJ actually is going to indict Ramaswamy before he even gets that chance. I mean, just look at what they're doing to everybody else. I mean, the DOJ is it's amazing what's happened in this country in the past 10 years to prevent anybody who supports President Trump or this America First movement from moving forward in their life and having a regular, decent life. You see all of these people. Well, here's an issue. So this woman named Tammy McDonald, I want to say she's from South Carolina, but I'm not sure. She was just woman with like a few Twitter followers or something, and she said something in support of the America First MAGA movement, and her house got swatted. She said that she was at some volunteer event. She was feeding children, literally feeding children. She's a middle-aged woman, so it's appropriate for her to do that, right? And she gets back to her house, and there's law enforcement knocking her door down. Now, I don't think, it depends, of course, on the actual event, but if cops think it's serious enough, they will knock your door down. Now, how much does that cost you? Because the cops aren't going to pay to replace your door. So how much does that cost every time they do that? $500, $1,000? It adds up. And if you're a regular American citizen like Tammy McDonald, $500 for a new door comes out of your savings. And you might not have a huge pool of savings. You might have $10,000. You might have $5,000. You might even have less than that. So $500 would be like $10 billion to Mark Zuckerberg, or $5 billion, depending on the pool of savings. So you can see here where these nasty, you know, misuse and abuse of our legal system, which has happened repeatedly, like literally every month to me. People will fabricate, they'll falsify. And unfortunately, in my case, I'm dealing with very powerful people who do this. But when you see you get some random weirdos on the internet, right, who do this to Tammy McDonald, who's just a good woman, you know, and you can tell you have intuition, and this sort of like Holy Spirit where you can kind of use your intuition, use your discernment to figure out whether or not someone is good or bad initially before you really know who they are. And this Tammy McDonald is a good person. And you can tell that these things are only happening to those, you know, they're only happening to these types of people, partly because of those reasons, but more importantly, it's terrifying to come and see your house raided by a paramilitary force, which happened to this woman. And if anything, this should bring her up to the next level. You know, it's like she's getting called by the Holy Spirit to step up here and start actually criticizing more people and not backing down. So I hope that she does that. That's my prayer to her. But, you know, like you say one thing that they don't like and suddenly they try and do something like that. And again, if you think about this as it relates to something like ChatGPT here, right? Okay, well, ChatGPT is saying, we don't like what you're saying, so we're not actually going to do anything. Now, this isn't swatting, of course, but it's indicative of sort of the same underlying motive, which is to prevent you from saying or retaliate against you for saying something that they haven't, you know, quote unquote, allowed you to say. It's ridiculous. All right. I'm going to check on the caucus information. I'll probably be back, and I'll begin probably later this afternoon, around 5 or 6 tonight, or maybe even later in the evening. See you then.
Thanks for watching Command HQ with Brock and Agent X. We'll see you next time.